Let's take a look at how x and y axis reflections affect a graph. You see before you the graph y equals square root of x, the basic shape. If we wish to graph y equals negative root x versus y equals the square root of negative x, how will that affect the original graph? I think in this case the simplest thing to do just would be to look at a few ordered pairs by plotting points. For the curve y equals negative root x, you can see that you're first calculating the square root of x, so x must be greater than or equal to 0, and then you're multiplying by negative 1, which means that the operation being outside the square root, you're affecting the y's. So if I were to plot x equals 0, I would actually get negative root 0, but that's still 0. So 0, 0 still stays anchored to the x-axis. If I let x equal 1, I get negative square root of 1, or negative 1. And if I let x equals 4, I get negative square root of 4, which equals negative 2. Now I will graph this guy in red. So look at your original graph. Y equals negative root x also goes through 0, 0, but now goes through 1, negative 1, and 4, negative 2. So essentially you've multiplied all the y coordinates by negative 1, thus producing an x-axis reflection of y equals the square root of x. Now let's look at y equals the square root of negative x. If I let x equal 0, I am calculating the square root of negative 0, which is still the square root of 0, or 0. If I let x equal 1, I want you to see that we would have a problem. We can't take the square root of negative 1. So notice, since this is the opposite of x replacing x, I need to try some values that are the opposite of the original x's. And this I can do. The square root of negative, the opposite of 1, is the square root of 1, or 1. Likewise, if I let x equal negative 4, I obtain the value the square root of 4, or 2. I'll do this guy in green. So I still have the point 0, 0, and now I have the point negative 1, positive 1, and negative 4, positive 2, and the other points would follow suit. And what you see is that the graph of the square root of x ends up being reflected about the y-axis. Okay, so to recap, in general, if you have a negative 1 times f of x, that produces an x-axis reflection. If instead you have negative x replacing x in the function, you have a y-axis reflection.